They think they hurt you, huh? Do you remember that moment? That moment where you sat there, staring at that cold, lifeless phone, practically begging it to light up, waiting for that apology, that half-hearted crumb of regret, the one you already knew deep down would never come? Like a desperate gambler clutching their last chip, hoping for a miracle that'll never come? Wasn't that you, sitting there, bargaining with the universe for just one sign, one shred of hope? Oh, some of you still are, aren't you? Still waiting, still hoping, still letting them pull your strings? You gave it all, your time, your energy, your heart. They sucked you dry and tossed you away like a used-up matchstick, burnt, fragile, and forgotten. And you let them. You let them walk through your soul with their muddy, self-serving boot, and they didn't even bother to look back. Oh, it hurts, doesn't it? But you know what? They thought you'd always be there, a backup, a cushion, a fool. Oh, how foolish they are. Because now you are going to show them, no, scratch that, nah. You are going to show yourself that you were never the weak one, that you were never the one who needed them, that you've been holding the power all along, just waiting to realize it. And guess what? I'm here to help you see it, to help you grab it with both hands and never let it go. So, are you ready for this? Ready to reclaim your strength, your worth, and your freedom? Then go ahead, hit that like button right now. Make it your first move, your declaration that you're done waiting and ready to take back what's always been yours. Let's do this together. So now you're about to give them the shock of their miserable little lives. You're about to introduce them to a kind of silence that echoes, a silence that doesn't whisper, it roars. A silence that says, you don't matter anymore. And they think they hurt you, and they think they played their game and won. But here's the thing about games. They only last as long as the player agrees to keep playing. And guess what? You flip the damn board over. They don't know it yet, but they've lost the only thing they never deserved, you. And now, they'll get nothing. Not your voice, not your anger, not your tears, not a single shred of acknowledgement. Just silence. Oh, silence. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? It's not weakness. It's not retreat. Silence is a weapon. Silence is chaos. Silence says, I don't owe you a damn thing. Picture this. They're sitting there, scrolling through their phone, expecting your name to pop up. It always does, right? You've always been their safety net, their plan B, their warm little blanket when the world got too cold for them. But now there's nothing. No text, no calls, no voice on the other end of the line. Silence isn't the absence of sound, it's the presence of power, and that power, it's all yours. Here's the part that really stings for them. Silence doesn't just say, I'm done. It screams, you were never worth my words. And you know what? They'll feel it. And you know what's scarier than a scream? Silence. Because anger means you still care, but silence is a tombstone. It's the death certificate for whatever connection they thought they had with you. Oh, you don't know this. The connection? You know what connection? They cared for the connection of control, the connection of having a puppet, a doormat to wipe their dirty shoes on, leaving behind the filth of their selfishness and entitlement. That's what they wanted. A stage where they could perform their pitiful little act, and you'd sit there clapping, begging for an encore. But let me be very straight with you. What were, or maybe what are, you trying to attract? Don't you see it? Don't you see them for what they are? They don't care about you. They care about the power they get from breaking you. The power of knowing that no matter how much they twist the knife, you'll be there, bleeding out, and still asking for more. So why do you allow them to hurt you again? No, not anymore. You're done. You're ripping out the strings. You're throwing away the doormat. You're not going to let them hurt you anymore. You see, the beauty of silence isn't just what it says to them, it's what it does to you. It's the moment you step back, breathe, and realize something they never wanted you to see. You're free. Free from their games, their control, their need to keep you on your knees. From this moment on, you're untouchable. They hurt you once because you let them close enough to do it. But now they'll never get that chance again. They'll reach for you, and you won't be there. They'll try to pull the strings, but you've burned them all. They'll watch as you rise, silent, powerful, and indifferent. And oh, how it will burn them alive. No more questions, no more excuses, no more second chances. Silence isn't just your weapon, it's your rebirth. They will never hurt you again, because you're not going to allow them to. And the power, it's in your hands. So throw it out in the comments to declare where you stand. Write this: they can't hurt me. Say it, mean it, and shout it if you have to. Declare it loud and clear in the comments. Let the world find out, but more importantly, let yourself find out that the old you, the one who tolerated their games, that version of you, gone. So say it again, this time with conviction. They can't hurt me. Say it, believe it, make it your mantra, your truth, your declaration of freedom. And hey, while we're here, don't forget to hit that like button. Helping you out in this tough time, that's my responsibility. But you know what your responsibility is? To make sure this message reaches every single person out there who needs it. The only way to do that? Smash that like button and hit subscribe. And hey, you know what? We're not done yet. Not even close. The real gold, the steps that'll make sure they never hurt you again, those are coming up next. So stay with me, buckle up, and let's dive in. Number 1. This pain is your power. Oh, they think they've won, don't they? They think they broke you, left you shattered, crawling through the wreckage of what they did. They think they hurt you so badly that you'll never rise again. That's what they're counting on. They feed off it. They want you stuck in the same pain they caused, replaying the same moments in your head over and over again like a broken record. But here's where they messed up. They thought this pain would destroy you. They didn't realize it would fuel you. And hey, you know what? They think this pain is your prison. They think it's the chains that will keep you tethered to them forever, bound to the memory of what they did. They think every sharp pang of hurt you feel is a sign they still own a piece of you. Oh, how wrong they are. They don't know, do they? They don't know this pain is your fire. It's not the weight that's holding you down. It's the furnace that's burning away everything weak, everything that let them get close enough to hurt you in the first place. This isn't a breakdown. It's a breakthrough. This isn't defeat. It's a transformation. But let's flip the mirror for a second. Let's stop looking at them. Because you and I both know they're not the main event here. The real question isn't what they think. It's what you think. Right now, you're probably sitting there drowning in questions. Why did this happen to me? How could they do this? How do I move on? Questions that don't have answers. And you know what? That makes them a waste of your time. Let me hit you with the truth. You're asking the wrong questions. The question isn't, why did they hurt me? The real question is, what am I going to do with this pain? Oh, I know what you're thinking. Pain? Use it? How? Let me tell you how. Pain isn't just something to survive. It's something to wield. It's your weapon. It's your power. Every tear you cried, every sleepless night, every second of doubt, they're not signs of weakness. They're proof you're still alive, still fighting, still capable of turning this mess into something they'll never understand. Your strength. You see, pain is like fire. Uncontrolled, it consumes you. It devours everything in its path until there's nothing left but ash. But when you control it, when you channel it, that same fire becomes your forge. It becomes the heat that hardens you, reshapes you, and turns you into something unbreakable. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's Stoicism, my friend. You can't control what they did, but you can control what you do with it. And this pain, it's yours now. They don't own it anymore. It doesn't tie you to them. It sets you free. Still not convinced? Let's get real. You're probably thinking, but I just want them back. I want them to see what they've lost. I want them to regret it. Fine. Let's talk about regret. Do you think regret comes from your tears, your begging, your pain on display? No. Regret doesn't come from seeing you broken. It comes from seeing you rebuilt. Regret happens when they realize the thing they tried to destroy not only survived, but thrived. They don't regret breaking you. They regret losing access to you. So let's give them something to regret. Let's make sure the next time they think of you, all they see is the fire they couldn't extinguish. Stop sitting there waiting for them to apologize, to explain, to give you closure. Let me tell you something. Closure is a scam. It's a fairy tale people tell themselves to feel better. You don't need closure. What you need is to look in the mirror and say, "This is where their story ends and mine begins." You don't need them to validate your pain or give you a reason. They already gave you everything you need, the pain itself. And now it's your job to turn it into something they'll never forget. Every time you feel that ache in your chest, every time the memory of what they did tries to crawl back into your mind, remind yourself, this isn't weakness, this is my power. Every piece of you they tried to break is now a piece of you they'll never touch again. Because here's the thing, they never understood. Pain doesn't destroy people. It reveals them. It strips away the lies, the illusions, the parts of you that were holding on to the wrong things. What's left? The real you, the strong you, the unstoppable you. So no, they didn't win. They didn't break you. They simply handed you the one thing they never expected, the power to become untouchable. You're not crawling anymore. You're climbing. And every step you take is a reminder that they don't matter anymore. This pain, it's not your prison. It's your crown. Wear it. Own it. Let it remind you every single day that they hurt you, but they'll never hurt you again. Say it with me now and say it like you mean it. This pain is my power. Write it in the comments. Write it for yourself, for the world to see. Declare it. Own it. Live it. Because this is just the beginning. They can't hurt you anymore. Number 2, shatter the illusion of need. Oh, they think you need them, don't they? They think they've convinced you that without them, you're nothing, that their presence was the glue holding you together. They look at you, or maybe they don't even bother to look anymore, and they assume you're still clinging to this illusion, this lie, that somehow they were the best thing that ever happened to you. How cute. The reality? The best thing that ever happened to you is this moment, this realization that you don't need them, and you never did. Let's get one thing straight. This illusion of need, it's their greatest weapon. It's what kept you tethered to their chaos, their games, their manipulation. They wanted you to believe that their love, their validation, their approval was the air you breathed. And you let them. Oh, how you let them. You bent over backward, dimmed your light, sacrificed your peace, all because they convinced you that without them, you'd fall apart. What a joke. Now let me ask you this. Did you actually need them? No, seriously. Did they fix your problems or did they cause them? Did they uplift you or did they drain you? Did they add value to your life or did they make you feel like you had to earn your worth every single day? Let me hit you with the truth. What you needed wasn't them. What you needed was the illusion they dangled in front of you. They sold you a dream, a twisted fantasy, where they were the answer to your questions, the solution to your doubts, the key to your happiness. But here's the kicker. That dream, it was a scam. Epicurus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Now think about that for a second. The illusion of need isn't about them. It's about the part of you that's still convinced you're incomplete. They saw that part of you, exploited it, and made themselves look like the missing piece to your puzzle. But let me tell you something. You were never a puzzle. You were already whole. You just didn't see it because they didn't want you to. You know what this illusion of need really is? It's a prison. And here's the twisted part. The bars aren't even real. You're trapped because you're holding on to the idea that they were essential, that their love gave your life meaning. But let me ask you this. Why would you ever give someone that much power over you? Why would you let anyone make you feel like you couldn't breathe without them? The answer is simple. You wouldn't if you knew your own worth. Here's a metaphor for you. Imagine a bird sitting in an open cage, convinced it can't fly because it's forgotten how. That's you. The cage is your illusion of need, and the only reason you're still sitting there is because they made you believe you can't make it out there on your own. But guess what? The cage is open. It always was. You just didn't see it. Still think you need them? Let's go deeper. Look at what you've been through. Look at the pain, the betrayal, the nights you spent wondering what you did wrong. Look at how they took your kindness and turned it into their weapon, how they made you question your worth every chance they got. And now tell me, is that what you need? Do you really need someone? Someone who made you feel small just so they could feel big? Someone who chipped away at your confidence piece by piece until you were left scrambling for their scraps of attention? No, you don't need that. What you need is to wake up. The illusion of need isn't about them. It's about your belief that you're not enough. They didn't create that belief. They just exploited it. But now you're done. You're shattering that illusion piece by piece until there's nothing left but the truth. And the truth is this. You were always enough. You don't need their validation to feel worthy. You don't need their attention to feel seen. You don't need their love to feel complete. The only thing you ever needed was to realize that you're the one holding the power, not them. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength, it's been inside you all along. You just had to stop looking for it in someone else. So no, you don't need them. You never did. And now that you see that, they'll never hurt you again. Say it with me. I don't need them. Write it in the comments. Shatter the illusion. Own your power. Let the world know and let yourself know. This is the moment you set yourself free. You're done with the cage. Number 3, turn off the lights. You know what they believe? That when they come back, you'll still be there. They think you'll leave the door open, the lights on, and your heart waiting like some pitiful little welcome mat, ready to let them walk all over you again. That's how they see you. A constant, an always available fallback ad, just in case. And why wouldn't they? You've let them flick your switch on and off, dimming your light whenever it suited them. But not anymore. The power's out. You're about to turn off the lights and leave them in the cold, dark reality of what they've lost. Let's be real. They never respected your light. Oh, they enjoyed it, sure. They basked in the glow of your love, your energy, your attention, but they never valued it. They never stopped to think about how much effort it took for you to keep shining, even while they drained you. No, they treated your light like it was owed to them, like it was something they could flick on whenever they needed it and forget about when they didn't. But here's the twist. They don't get to decide when your light shines anymore. You do. And the first thing you're going to do? Turn it off. Not out of spite, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. Because people like them. They don't learn when you argue, when you plead, when you try to explain yourself. No, they learn when you disappear. When the warmth they took for granted is gone. When the light they thought would always be there suddenly isn't. You see, turning off the lights isn't about making them suffer. It's about making yourself whole again. It's about realizing that your energy, your love, your light are not utilities for someone else to use and abuse. They're sacred. They're yours. And if someone can't appreciate them, they don't deserve them. And let me guess, you're sitting there thinking, but what if they don't notice? What if they don't care? What if my silence means nothing to them? Let me answer that for you. So what? This isn't about them anymore. This is about you. This is about reclaiming the power you gave away. Whether they notice or not is irrelevant, because turning off the lights isn't about them. It's about showing yourself that you don't need them anymore. Here's a metaphor for you. Imagine a lighthouse that shines so brightly it guides every lost ship safely to shore. But one ship, one reckless, self-centered ship, keeps crashing into the rocks over and over again, ignoring the light, disrespecting its purpose. At some point, the lighthouse keeper has to ask, am I shining for the right reasons, or am I wasting my energy on a ship that refuses to learn? The answer, you stop shining for them. You conserve your energy for those who will value it, who will navigate toward it with care and respect. And oh, the silence when the lights go out. They won't know what to do with it. People like them, who thrive on your attention, your energy, your reactions, they crumble in the face of nothingness. They'll poke, prod, try to provoke you, to pull you back into their orbit. But when you turn off the lights and stay off the grid, that's when they feel the full weight of what they've lost. And trust me, they will feel it. So stop keeping the light on for someone who doesn't deserve it. Let them stumble around in the dark, questioning, regretting, wondering what happened. Let the coldness of your absence be the only thing they feel. Not your anger, not your pain, just the void where your warmth used to be. Say it with me. I'm turning off the lights. Write it in the comments. Declare it to yourself. Because from this moment forward, your light, it's no longer theirs to dim, to use, to take for granted. You're not leaving the light on anymore. You're saving it for yourself and for the people who actually deserve to bask in its glow. They hurt you, but they'll never hurt you again. Number 4, live like they never existed. They think they've left a mark on you, don't they? They think their absence is this gaping wound, this void you'll never fill. They imagine you sitting there, replaying every word they ever said, every moment you spent together, as if their presence is tattooed on your soul. That's the delusion they're living in. They think they're unforgettable. Here's the truth, though. The only reason they think they've left such a lasting impression is because you've been letting them believe it. You've been holding on, haven't you? Even if you've told yourself you're over it, even if you've pretended to move on, there's still that lingering thought, that little whisper. What if they come back? What if they realize what they've lost? Stop right now, because the path forward isn't about waiting for them to see your worth. It's about living as if they never existed in the first place. Let me tell you why this is so powerful. Living like they never existed doesn't mean you erase the memories. They happened and they shaped you, but it does mean you stop giving those memories power. You stop letting their actions define your present and dictate your future. This is where Stoicism comes in strong. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't change what they did, but you can absolutely decide that it doesn't matter anymore. Here's where the hard part comes in, though. You've been holding on to the illusion that your life is somehow incomplete without them, that their absence is this giant hole you'll never fill. But let me ask you this. Did they really complete you? Did they really make your life better? Or were they just a distraction from the part of yourself you didn't want to face? Be honest, because if they truly added value to your life, you wouldn't feel this relief mixed with pain when you think of them. Now here's the metaphor for you. Imagine you've been walking around with a stone in your shoe. At first, you tell yourself you can handle it. It's just a little discomfort. But the longer you walk, the more it hurts. And when you finally stop and take it out, sure, your foot still aches for a while, but eventually you realize just how much easier it is to move forward without it. They were the stone. You thought you needed them, but all they ever did was slow you down. Still think they mattered? Then answer this. Where were they when you needed someone to lift you up? Where were they when you were pouring everything into them and getting nothing back? Where were they when you felt small, when you doubted yourself, when you just needed someone to see you? They weren't there, were they? Because people like them, they're only there when it serves them. The second it requires effort, commitment, or sacrifice, they're gone. And now you're sitting here, thinking about them as if they were this monumental figure in your life. Please, living like they never existed means choosing to see yourself without the filter of their influence. It means remembering who you were before them and who you can be without them. It's about reclaiming the narrative. They didn't make you. They didn't shape your destiny. They were a chapter, not the whole damn book. Close the chapter, burn the page, start writing a story that doesn't include them. But how do I do that, you're asking? How do I live like they never existed? Simple. You stop giving them space in your mind. Every time they creep in, you shut the door. You focus on the things they tried to dim in you, your goals, your passions, your joy. You rebuild yourself so fully, so unapologetically, that the version of you they knew is unrecognizable. That's how you do it. You rise so high, they can't even see you anymore. And here's the thing. When you live like they never existed, you strip them of all their power. They can't come back into your life because there's no space for them anymore. They can't hurt you because you've stopped making room for their existence in your world. You've turned the lights out, locked the door, and moved so far beyond them that they're nothing more than a faint memory in the distance. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about proving anything to them. This is about freedom. True freedom, the kind where you wake up in the morning and the first thought in your mind isn't about them. The kind where you live your life for yourself, not for the hope that they'll notice. The kind where you look in the mirror and think, I did this. I built this. I am this. So say it with me. They don't exist. Write it in the comments. Let it be your truth, because starting now, you're living a life where their name isn't spoken, their face isn't remembered, and their actions no longer define you. They hurt you, but now they're nothing, and you're everything. Number 5, the rule of 1%. You want change, right? Real, tangible change? You want to rise above this mess, shake off the weight they dumped on you, and become the kind of person who doesn't just survive, but thrives. Well, let me tell you something. It's not going to happen overnight. No miracle switch flips here. This isn't about grand gestures or sweeping transformations. It's about one small decision, repeated every single day, until you've rebuilt yourself from the ground up. This is the rule of 1%, a simple yet ruthless strategy that takes patience, persistence, and power. You don't need to reinvent yourself in a week, a month, or even a year. All you need is to get 1% better every day. That's it. One step, one change, one choice. It may not sound like much, but let me ask you this. What's the alternative? Staying stuck, waiting for someone else to fix it, hoping they'll come back and magically make things right? No, that's not your story anymore. Here's the beauty of the rule of 1%. It works because it's brutal in its simplicity. Every single day, you ask yourself, what can I do today to be 1% better than I was yesterday? Maybe it's something small, getting out of bed when you don't feel like it, putting your phone down and focusing on yourself for an hour, or taking 5 minutes to remind yourself that you don't need them. Small steps, tiny victories, but you know what? Those small steps add up. A 1% improvement every day compounds into massive transformation. Think about it. If you get 1% better every day for a year, by the end of that year, you won't just be better, you'll be 37 times better. That's the math. But let's forget the math for a second and focus on the reality. Imagine being 37 times stronger, 37 times more confident, 37 times more focused on your own power. Imagine the person you'll become, someone they wouldn't even recognize. Someone who's so far out of their league, they can't even fathom what they lost. But here's where the real challenge comes in. You're going to hit days where you feel like you can't even manage 1%. Days when the weight of what they did pulls at you, whispers in your ear, tells you to give up, stay still, let it all fall apart. Those are the days that matter most. Those are the days you find that 1% in something, anything. Maybe it's brushing your teeth when you don't want to. Maybe it's writing down one thing you're grateful for. Maybe it's simply refusing to let their name pass through your mind for an hour. Whatever it is, do it, because even on the hardest days, progress is progress. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. The rule of 1% is all about harnessing that power over your mind. It's about focusing on what you can control and letting go of everything else. You can't control what they did. You can't control whether they regret it or not. You can't control if they ever think about you again. But you can control how you rise, 1% at a time. And don't sit there thinking, but 1% isn't enough. I want more. I need more. That's the trap. That's the lie they want you to believe. That if you can't have it all at once, it's not worth having at all. Let me tell you something. 1% is more than enough. 1% is everything. Because the truth is, massive change doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from 1,000 small ones, strung together with grit and determination. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. You don't get to the top by leaping in one bound. You get there step by step, inch by inch. Some steps are easier, some are harder, but every single one takes you closer to the summit. That's what the rule of 1% is, a relentless climb. And every step you take is a step away from the person they tried to make you, and a step toward the person you're meant to be. So what's your 1% today? Maybe it's focusing on a goal you've been neglecting. Maybe it's letting go of a thought about them that's been holding you back. Maybe it's just getting through the day with a little more strength than you had yesterday. Whatever it is, commit to it, and then tomorrow do it again, and the next day, and the next, until one day you look back and realize the person they hurt is gone. What's left is someone stronger, smarter, and untouchable. Say it with me, 1% better every day. Write it in the comments. Let it sink in. Make it your mantra. Because when you focus on that 1%, you're not just moving forward. You're leaving them in the dust. They hurt you, but they'll never hurt you again, 1% at a time. You're rising. Number 6, remember, your silence is your crown. They're waiting for it, you know? Waiting for the text, the call, the apology, the angry outburst, the tears. Whatever it is, they're expecting some kind of reaction from you because that's what you always gave them, isn't it? You were predictable. A guaranteed response. A puppet they could provoke with the pull of a string. That's how they got their power. By making you react. But now you're about to show them what real power looks like. Now, you wear the crown of silence. Your silence is more than just the absence of words. It's the loudest declaration you could ever make. It says, "You don't deserve my time, my energy, or my voice." It's a void they can't control, a mirror they can't avoid, and a weight that grows heavier every second they try to figure it out. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's not retreat. It's domination. Here's the truth. People like them thrive on your attention. Whether it's love, hate, anger, or sadness, your reaction is their fuel. They poke at you, hurt you, manipulate you, all to see what they can get out of you. It's like they're throwing pebbles into a pond just to watch the ripples. But what happens when the pond goes still? What happens when the surface refuses to react? They drown in their own emptiness. That's the power of silence. And let me tell you what silence does to them. It drives them mad. They start questioning everything. Why aren't you responding? Why aren't you fighting back? Have they lost their grip on you? Are you over them? They'll replay every word, every action, trying to figure out what went wrong, because for people like them, silence isn't just confusing, it's terrifying. Silence forces them to sit with themselves, and trust me, they don't want to do that. They'd rather keep you in their game, reacting to their every move, than face the emptiness of their own reflection. But let's stop focusing on them for a second, because this isn't about them. It's about you. Let's be honest. Silence isn't easy, is it? It's tempting to respond, to defend yourself, to explain your side, to let them know how they hurt you. But every time you give in to that temptation, you give them power. You let them keep you in their web. But when you stay silent, you take your power back. You remove yourself from the game entirely. You become unshakable, and they become irrelevant. Think about this. People who react the loudest are often the weakest. They're the ones who need validation, the ones who need constant reassurance that they're in control. But when you stop reacting, when you stop giving them the satisfaction of seeing you upset, they lose everything. And in that silence, you gain everything. Your silence becomes the throne you sit on, the crown that rests on your head. It shows the world you don't need validation from anyone, especially not them. So remember this, your silence is your crown. Wear it proudly. You don't owe them an explanation, a response, or a single word. Silence is your weapon, your strength, and your victory.